Well, a short time ago, I spoke to the Justice Secretary Robert Buckland, and I began by asking him about the backlog of an extraordinary 58,000 Crown Court cases, which means that some victims will have to wait years to have their cases heard.
Well, I can tell them that the plan that I developed last year to scale up capacity in the courts is already yielding fruit, and I've already lifted the limit on the number of days to be used by the Crown Court judges in order to get through the caseload.
But one of the reasons why they've been waiting for so long is that there was already a backlog even before the pandemic. Because as we know, from 2010 until 2019, the number of Crown Court days per year went from 110,000 to 86,000. Only 45% of Crown Court capacity was actually being used.
Well, when I came into office, I ensured that we changed course and started to increase the number of days to be sat. And also, it's right to say, Matt, that over the last decade, numbers have risen and fallen.
Because for tens of thousands of people, justice delayed is justice denied, with terrible personal consequences. Well,
I accept the effects that the delay will have on evidence and on witnesses, which is why we've already rolled out much more recording of evidence before the trial. Witnesses who are vulnerable can give evidence and be cross-examined in pre-recorded interviews, which can then be played. But we've got more to do.
Now, you're the government's senior law officer. You're the custodian of transparency and accountability. So do tell me, who did originally pay for the Prime Minister's curtains?
Well, we know now, Matt, that there are a plethora of investigations into that issue, from Lord Geit right through to other agencies as well. I think it's right, in respect to due process, for us to await the outcome of all of those inquiries.
But people would not expect a plethora of investigations to answer the very simple question, who originally paid for the curtains?
But the Prime Minister was very clear that he talked about covering the costs of this, and that's what he said time and time again. It's now for those charged with the investigation to examine this and for them to make their conclusions.
The Prime Minister said recently that people don't, I quote, give a monkeys about this stuff. Do you agree with him?
Well, I can say that it's not been raised on the doorstep conversations that I've had with people through this campaign, and it's not sparked that much public interest.
You should, though, give a monkeys about transparency and accountability and questions of ministerial conduct, should you not? You're the senior law officer of the government.
Well, look, what I care about is making sure that this government fulfils its manifesto pledges and its commitment to level up the country.
Let's talk about the nanny. Who originally offered to pay for the Prime Minister's nanny?
Well, as I've said, there are investigations into many aspects of this issue, and I'm not going to stand here and speculate and prejudge what might be found. I think it's important that we let due process take its course, and then we will know more about it.
We've got the elections coming up tomorrow. If the parties that favour Scottish independence get a majority in Scotland, what are the legal grounds on which you would deny the people of Scotland their political will to hold another referendum on independence?
But of course, ultimately, the decisions are ones that, with regard to the referendum, are indeed decisions that are reserved. But I think the point that has to be made time and time again is that we shouldn't just casually read across from any result in Holyrood a particular wish for an independence referendum here and now.
Robert Buckland, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Matt.